This is Bob Barr with Liberty Guard, bringing you another edition of Liberty Guard's Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe. Please, of course, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and, of course, to follow Liberty Guard on social media. The law of the universe that we're going to be talking about today is law number 5, one of the early laws of the universe. Law number 5 tells us that modern political leadership is really a 4-letter word. It's spelled P-O-L-L, poll. Modern political leadership is a 4-letter word spelled poll. And the most recent example of this comes to us from, no surprise, folks, Jen Psaki, the press secretary for the Biden administration. And it comes to us, again, no surprise, in the context of the COVID pandemic, and particularly the mask mandate. Now, you all probably recall recently a federal judge, a Trump appointee in Florida, ruled that the CDC's mask mandate for flying on airplanes and traveling in other federally regulated common carrier conveyances was unconstitutional and threw it out. Well, that then precipitated the CDC to say, well, not so fast. We want to appeal that through the court. Anyway, that's proceeding. The point today with regard to polling is everybody can recall time after time after time that federal officials, whether it's the CDC or the sainted Dr. Anthony Fauci, telling us that everything that the government was doing in the context of COVID was based on science, with a capital S, science. Well, there's some examples of that in a moment, but what's interesting here is just recently, the president's press secretary, Ms. Psaki, actually was being honest, or maybe she simply forgot herself for a moment when she said the following. She was asked a question about the mask mandate, and she says, quote, "Public polling does not actually show that there is a universal view of people getting rid of masks. That is not," Psaki said, "actually what public polling shows." So what she is doing is stating honestly that the administration's mask mandate is not based on science. It's based on polling. That goes contrary, of course, and my crack staff pulled up a number of specific examples where the CDC and others in the government herald science as the basis on which the unwashed masses, all of us poor schmoes out there, have to follow what the government tells us to do or not to do. It's based on the science. As a matter of fact, now this has nothing to do with COVID, but it is absolutely hilarious. Just earlier this year, as a matter of fact, the CDC reiterated that medium rare hamburgers are dangerous based on the science, the same as their science tells them that people shouldn't eat cookie dough. I mean, frankly, I've never understood the great fascination with eating cookie dough, but some people do. In doing so, you are going against the science on which CDC bases their recommendations that eating medium rare hamburgers, I guess rare hamburgers as well, is dangerous. Well, we have Dr. Fauci, of course, took great umbrage and has taken great umbrage at people who criticize his edicts from on high, his Mount Olympus statements, because Fauci tells us that when we attack him, we are attacking science, the great God of science. He says it's actually very dangerous, according to Dr. Fauci, to not do what he tells us to do because, quote, all of the things that I have spoken about consistently from the very beginning have been fundamentally based on science. Well, we know that all of that is not true. And it was actually kind of funny to have somebody in the administration, even if it's just the press secretary, admit, even inadvertently, that it really depends on polls, has nothing to do with science. And in so doing, Jen Psaki actually confirmed the accuracy of Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, law number 5, that modern political leadership is a 4-letter word spelled P-O-L-L. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to having you again with us next time on our next edition of Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe, brought to you by Liberty Guard. Thank you for checking out our program today. This show is made possible by Liberty Guard. I encourage you to visit libertyguard.org to learn more about our work in defense of individual liberty and against government abuse. So please support us and become a regular viewer of Bob Barr's Laws of the Universe. You're not going out of your mind. You're slowly and systemically being driven out of your mind. This is gaslighting, and it is precisely what the left is doing to America. It's not a movie. It's real. It's happening right now, and it's dangerous. If the left is permitted to continue, it will irreparably undermine our history, our values, and our culture. Right now, the Biden administration and Democrat leaders in the Congress, aided of course by Hollywood and the mainstream media, are using every trick in the book to institutionalize their radical agenda to destroy America as we know it and replace it with a European-style socialist society. They are gaslighting America.
From the desk of former Congressman Bob Barr comes a special report titled Gaslighting America. In this book, Bob Barr tackles the left's war on truth, exposing the ways they are rewriting history, manipulating the news, and changing the very definition of words. Help protect the soul of our nation. Order today.